Hi, welcome to Jovie's home. I post new videos every Tuesday and sometimes Thursday. Today, I thought it would be really fun just to talk about some fun facts about biking in the Netherlands. And these facts, I've sourced them from different spots on the internet. There will be links below linking you back to the original sources. But I just thought it would be fun to have like a chatty, silly little fun video talking about, something that all Dutchies love, and that is their bikes. So if that sounds good to you, why don't you come on in, kick off your shoes and stay a while. I'm really glad you're here. You guys, before we get into today's video, we have to discuss the Dutch word of the day, and it cannot be any other word than fiets, which means bicycle in Dutch. Fiets. All right, so the first fun fact that I want to share, and this should come as no surprise if you are Dutch, and that is that helmets, not required by law. However, number 2, a bell is required, as is a light. So if you are cycling and you can have your helmet, your knee pads, and all your stuff, but if you don't have a bike and if you don't have a bell and a light, you can definitely get a fine. And I think the times that I've cycled, like I don't find that the light really does much for you as a cyclist. Maybe if you have some fancy halogen ones, maybe it does. But I think that the light is more as a protection for drivers, especially in the winter months when it's very dark, very early. We don't see you unless you are lit up. So definitely, I think that this is the reason it is, again, not so that you have a light to see on the road like a car, but rather so that other people can see you. So primo. And if you don't have it, or like your light breaks or something happens, do not be surprised to get a fine. You can definitely get stopped on the street and get fined for that. So let us know in the comments below, Dutchies, if you've been stopped and did you get a ticket, or were you able to charm your way out of it? This brings us to point number 3, and that is that bikes have the highest safety priority in the Netherlands. If you're a cyclist, and even if you do something wrong and you have a collision with a car, it is the car driver that will be held liable. Even if you are 100% at fault, the most that you can be held responsible for is 50%, and even that is not always the case. So you have to be really careful if you're driving a car in the Netherlands. You really need to check and look out for those cyclists and make sure that they are safe. One of the things that took me a while to get used to as a non-native Dutch person, when I first started driving my car, when you park on the street, so you can imagine here's your street parking, next to it you'll have the bicycle lane, and then here you have the road. So if you've parked here, when you open your car door, it opens into the bicycle lane. And there are many, many, many cases of somebody opening their car door, not being careful, not checking, and there's a cyclist coming, and then they go flying over your car door. That is so scary and nerve-wracking and dangerous for everybody, right? It's not a good situation for anybody. So one of the tricks that I've heard of what you can do, instead of just opening your door with the hand, with your left hand, because it's on your left hand side, is to actually open the door with your right hand. So get into the habit of opening the door with your right hand, which automatically makes you turn and look to see if there's a cyclist coming. Boom. Good for all of you. The fourth point, and we've touched on this before, but I actually wanted to just give you some figures now, is that in the Netherlands, we have 17 million people. In the document that I referenced for this video, they mentioned that there are 22.5 million bicycles in this country. So it means that there's about 1.3 bicycles per person. And I was thinking, what kind of multiple bicycles per person? Who has all these bicycles? But in comments that you guys have left me and the way that you've shared with me before, you might have a mountain bike, you might have an Oma bike, or an Oma fiets, for like random groceries or things. You might have like a nicer bike versus like a less nice bike, and depending on if you're going to be going out, well, no one's going out now, but if you're going out, let's say to the bar or something, and you're gonna have like a crappy bike so that it doesn't get stolen or something, or that you can leave it out, you know, longer. But yeah, people here like have different bikes, just like, I don't know, I guess like the way that I would have different pairs of shoes. And so depending on the thing that you're doing is the bike that you're riding, and that's pretty cool. 5. So there are 35,000 kilometers of dedicated cycle paths in the Netherlands. Cycle paths, not psychopaths. I know in a previous video I mentioned psychopaths, and everyone was like, did she say psychopaths? No, bicycle paths. And there are 55,000 kilometers of other roads that you are sharing with a car, but that have a dedicated spot for bicycles. So that's 90,000 if my math is right. Yes, my math is right. It is 90,000 kilometers of glorious cycling space just for you. Number 6. On average, a Dutch person cycles 1,000 kilometers per year based on like 250 to 300 trips, although I am certain that many of you cycle much, much more than that. There is something that editor Dan does on the weekend sometimes that requires him to cycle 30 kilometers one way, 30 kilometers home. So he's doing trips of 60 kilometers in a day and sometimes more. So I'm sure that there are also those of you who do that, sometimes much, much more than that for work. So holy moly, but on average, it's about 1,000 kilometers per year on your bikes. Number 7. So the average motorized bicycle, so they have these electric bikes that are a little bit motorized, they go around 13 kilometers per hour. However, the average Dutch cyclist, as they're just like cycling along on their regular non-electric bicycle, they're going 12.4 kilometers an hour. So it's not saving you that much time to go for the fancy electric one when, you know, doing it the old-fashioned way of just like pedaling along is doing just fine. Okay, this one, number 8, just kind of like blew my mind. In Amsterdam, during rush hour, there are about 72,000 cyclists going to work. I mean, of course, pre-corona, before we were all working from home, but in pre-corona times, it was 72,000 people on their bikes in one city that is not like enormous, but like a city going to work. That is double the amount of cars on the road at rush hour. How crazy is that? Like, and when I say crazy, it's positive crazy. Like, it's just wild to think that there's all these people. But to be honest with you, this is also one of the biggest reasons that I don't like driving in Amsterdam. I'm really, really cautious about the congestion of cyclists. And, you know, the fact is, as a driver, and please also share your comments below if you agree with me, but as a driver, I feel like because cyclists know that they are such a protected class and such a protected category of people, that sometimes they are a little bit careless when they are cycling and they don't signal or they don't try to communicate with the traffic. They just go, oftentimes ignoring red lights or things and just going, which makes me really nervous because every time I see a cyclist, I'm thinking, okay, let's get ready for any possible action that you're gonna do. But overall, this is how it is. And then the last fact that I want to share with you in this video today, but do let me know if you liked it and we will make more. Utrecht is a city with a population of 345,000 people. And every single day, there are 125,000 cyclists coming in or out of Utrecht. That's like 1/3 of the population, 1/3 using bikes. I just find that fascinating and super, super cool. You know what, I'm curious, if you've lived in Amsterdam and Utrecht, like if you've lived in both, where do you find it easier to commute? Where is it less of a burden or more? Like, where is it trickier? I'm really curious if you've had that experience. I have not lived in either city. I've certainly visited both, but I haven't lived in either one. But I'm curious, so if you have had this experience, do let me know. You guys, that completes today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we are trying to get to 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And yeah, I just want to thank you so much for spending any time that you did with me today. Thank you so much for coming over. I really look forward to seeing you in the next one. Doei!